And this is what he had to say.
It can be faster, it can be better if we have the political will. Unfortunately, we don't have that. Okay, we all want to help. Everybody wants to help, but we don't have the commitment to do it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the problem. Iba kasi yung tumutulong ka na 10%, iba yung tumutulong kang 150%. Mm-hmm. I think that makes a lot of difference. So I think that's the problem. Kaya ang mga tao walang choice. Okay, wala silang choice kundi sabi nga nila kung walang tutulong sa amin. Sabi nga doon sa isang interview ng mga ko doon nung nag-research pa kami. Kung walang tutulong sa amin, kailangan tulungan namin ang sarili namin. Kasi hindi kami pwedeng dumitpende sa gobyerno, hindi kami pwedeng dumitpende at maghantay na lang ng tulong.
Director Mendoza's first-hand experience in the evacuation camps gives one a clear view of what is happening despite the billions of pesos in local and foreign aid available.
Well, ang hirap na kasi para hindi mo ma-equate yung nasaan yung mga tulong, nasaan yung mga naririnig. Kung nandito ka sa Maynila, parang ma-imagine mo because of this huge support and parang donation coming from different parts of the world. Ang feeling mo, ang daling makarecover ng mga tao o natulungan sila kasi ang dami-daming pera at saka ang dami-daming donation. But when we were there, hindi ganun talaga ang nakita ko at hindi ganun ang nangyari. But that's beside the point, Kasi what really struck me is that despite of all this, wala akong naramdamang sa mga tao eh. Wala akong naramdamang, of course, may may mga siguro hinanakit, tampo. Pero ako ang mas na siguro nabagabag sabihin natin. Yung mga tao doon, lalo na nung ginagawa namin yung pelikula, wala silang ganung sama ng loob, kundi parang mas importante sa kanila on how to move on with their lives. Parang kung may darating, ang naging attitude nila, hindi na yung hindi na yung ninakit, hindi na yung galit. Kung may dumating, gagamitin natin. Kung walang dumating, we do it ourselves. Nagtutulungan sila, alam mo yun, at kung ano yung merong natira sa buhay nila, yun ang ginagamit nila para mag-move on. So, yun ang doon ako nag-focus kasi yung human spirit, yung strength, Doon sa akin siguro this is what is really unique about us Filipinos.
In fact, one of the stories that led director Mendoza to create this film was this horrible incident in Tacloban, where a mother and her 6 children died inside a burning tent in one of the evacuation camps last May 2013.
Okay, when we were filming this, we have parang talents, extras were from the city, ginamit namin. So they're speaking their dialect, their language. Kaya sila yung nilagay namin sa loob ng tent na kunyari nasusunog. But most of the staff were outside kasi the tent maliit lang yun eh. We were filming inside, so mausok doon, and we just had like 4 talents for inside. And then naririnig outside yung iyak ng mga tao at saka ng mga bata na nasa loob. And one of my cameraman, one of my staff was really felt, yung eksena, just with the mere sound of these children, na humihingi sila ng tulong, at na umiyak siya. Dun lang sa sound na yon because hindi niya kami nakikita eh. We were all inside and most of the staff were outside the tent, and what they could hear is just the sound and the cries and yung mga asking for help, yung mga bata na nandoon sa loob ng tent. And according to the people who were there, were present, who also witnessed that incident, that event nung nangyaring nasunog yung mga tent doon. Ramdam na ramdam nila, yung mga extras kasi na ginamit ko were also from that town. At nandoon talaga sila nang wala silang magawa na nakikita nila sila makalapit doon sa tent na susunog. Because imagine the tent, madali yang magsiklab eh. Diba? And the reason why the children couldn't really go out, nakalock yung tent inside. So hindi talaga sila makakalabas.
But you see, just as many people think that it is to our detriment, Director Mendoza believes that what is great about the Filipino is his spirit, because it is very positive, patient, and a forgiving one.
Madali tayo magalit, madali din tayo magpatawad, madali tayo makapag-cope at I don't know, no? Sometimes tinatanong ko rin yung sarili ko, is this a good quality of a Filipino? Being unique in this kind of, situation na madali ka magpatawad, pero magdali ka rin mag-cope. And then, pag nag-iisip ako, siguro in a way, yes.
What can the Haiyan victims expect now that the $3.7 billion rehabilitation master plan has been approved by the government?
The one approved by the President, the 167 billion pesos, is for projects and programs that are up to 2016. Because, again, there's going to be a change in administration. So, in terms of what the current administration can approve, in terms of the budget, the realistic targets would be up to 2016. So, it's going to be up to the next administration as to how they can continue to implement projects that will really be consistent with building back better. But our goal is that 80% of this whole vision of building back better will be accomplished by 2016.
The government has 2 years to implement the master plan before a new government comes in. Until then, we can only hope that it is executed properly. Pray that no other typhoon of this magnitude hits the country, and learn from the painful stories of Typhoon Haiyan. We end this Bonfire podcast documentary series with survivor stories as told to Palanca Awardee for Literature and host of History the TV show, Lourdes de Vera.
A stout, mustachioed man in his early 40s who wears a hard hat, Edelberto Navarroso Jr. wants to fulfill a pledge. He is one of those fortunate few who did not lose any immediate family members to Yolanda. So as a gesture of mortal gratitude, he vowed to bury with dignity as many bodies as possible. He is a heavy equipment operator for the province of Palo. Navarroso is now a foreman for the construction of a mass grave beside the Palo Metropolitan Cathedral with a singular marble marker, a minimalist garden of remembrance of sorts. It is a final resting place to 700 dead, most of them unidentified. He's trying to finish it just in time for the Pope's visit in January. On one side of the churchyard, resting on a wall, are crosses improvised from scrap wood. Painted on them are different names, with one date. He had dug 5 huge graves, each one measuring approximately 30 meters in length and 8 feet deep. Ted Filon, a famous Tacloban son, declared that he knew that things were back to normal when they started eating lechon, roast pig. Warais are known for their fondness for music and drink. A few months before the typhoon's anniversary, things seemed to be back to normal. The influence of expat aid workers seemed to have created new economic markets here and within the adjacent municipalities. Transportation rentals, pop-up bars, burger joints, carinderias with a touch of native chic to cater to foreigners. Once in a while, at the corner convenience store cashier, you'll be falling in line with American volunteers. One wonders how many others like them buy from humble stores like Anita's. An old woman at the Palo bunkhouse. She runs a store from her home. She sells cigarettes, candies, and a few bottled drinks. Anita with her grandson lives in one of those colored-coded bunkhouses in Palo, a temporary home to more than 200 families. Temporary is the accurate term. These bunkhouses would be demolished soon to make way for a parking space in time for the Pope's visit. The mayor of Palo, however, has officially denied the plans for demolition. A resident says, "I know there will be people who will drink beer on the night of the anniversary. And he says that on November 8th, there will be people who will be getting drunk. But he doesn't see the point. What is the point, he says, of rejoicing when you've lost half of your family? Barangay 31 Chairman Rene Celis turned 54 this November 8th. But since Yolanda, it looks like he won't be celebrating his birthday anytime soon. Instead of rejoicing, it will be a day of remembrance. On the 8th of November, his birthday, he lost his wife, Celia. He remembers the wind coming from the airport, the waters of the bay suddenly receding. His sister was alarmed. Then the wind started hammering at their houses, and then the waters. That's when he sought higher ground. And then came the water. He remembers it being so black. When asked about this common observation, he guesses that this might be from the murk long hidden beneath the bay, and suddenly agitated by the storm. But he swears that the second wave was the biggest. But he would be an untrustworthy witness, because there was no way to tell. By the time the third wave hit, it was all bedlam. As many as 20 people were on the roof. The wind blurred everything. First, he tried swimming through a maze of steel bars. In 15 seconds, he was underwater. It was a struggle to navigate. As he tried to surface for air, he was blocked by debris. By the time his head was above water, his wife was nowhere to be found. You should see them in the morning, she says. That's when they really bloom. Irene Pedrosa, 24 years old, points to the flowers on her mother's grave in front of the San Joaquin Parish Church in Palo, Leyte. Soft pink petals flowing on a bed of grass. The grave, though modest, looks well tended, and with good reason. Irene, along with her sister Anna, visits the grave every day, just before Angelus. Behind the crosses, there is no marble tombstone, but a tarpaulin sheet illumined by candlelight. On the poster, photos of two children who look barely 5 years old. My cousins, Irene says. And then she points to a picture in the middle. That's Mama. On the morning of Yolanda, her mother had been busy cooking breakfast for the evacuees in the barangay shelter. Anna herself would have been one of those under those flowers. She was holding on to an electric wire for hours. She almost lost her grip. Her hands were turning violet. San Joaquin in Palo Leyte saw much death and devastation. At least 380 are buried in this graveyard alone. Irene survived by hanging on to a wall of the San Joaquin Central Elementary School. Here, scores of children died. On one stone marker left by Korean missionaries, these words are engraved. One teacher, 67 children. For the residents of San Joaquin, these barangay centers and school buildings were supposed to be havens of refuge. These evacuees were the ones who heeded the local government's warning. There's a story of one evacuation center, the Gabriela building, whose glass walls were shattered, where many died, not because of drowning, but because of a stampede. Irene says she's not angry at anyone. She's just asking, of all places, why this one? Why us? A survey of the church graveyard might yield more such questions. For instance, if a baby, as that saying goes, is a sign that the world must go on, then how does one explain Ashira Alimangohan was born February 2, 2013, or Lexter, or Cyril May, or Jason Mosquito, who were born 2009, 2008, or 2011, respectively. Children, it seems, would be the first casualties in such calamities. Entire broods or children with their parents, staring from crumpled tarpaulin photographs. Beneath are candles on empty paint cans, stuffed toys, dolls, rosaries, a multiplicity of wooden crosses, flowers, and faces. A singular date, November 8, 2013. Almost all the survivors remember the same things. The same blackness of the water, the waves slamming 3 times, the sound of the wind. When trying to gauge levels of flooding, all of them gesture to a certain height. None of them lower than 12 or 13 feet. All of them make high-pitched jet-like noises when approximating the wind's decibels. Some remember loud explosions just before the water hit. Almost all of them remember corpses with arms still wrapped around trees, electrical posts, gates, towers, and anything solid and vertical within reach. They remember how it's like to eat rice that has been soaked in seawater, of sardines pilfered from nearby groceries, of freshly slaughtered pork cooked and served without seasoning. They remember fear, not of the strongest recorded typhoon in history, that's already past tense, but just of even the slightest hint of a downpour. There is an entire barangay now solely populated by widows and children. Widows because all the husbands supposedly stayed home when the rest of the family evacuated. And the usual ghostly postscripts, like that one of a jeepney driver refusing to work past 11 p.m. because of stories of drenched passengers who suddenly vanish in the rear view mirror. There are stories of people losing their minds, like that of a girl who roamed the streets for days, naked. There's also the story of an OFW who, upon hearing of the calamity, went home from the Middle East. After discovering her whole family dead and house wiped out, she went insane.
This Podcast.Ph presentation is supported by Martin Andanar's Homecast Studio and Audio.Ph.
mas na ano ko na siguro nabagabag sabihin natin. Yung mga tao doon, lalo-lalo na nung ginagawa namin yung pelikula, wala silang ganung sama ng loob, kundi parang mas importante sa kanila on how to move on with their lives. Parang kung may darating, ang naging attitude nila, hindi na yung hindi na yung ninakit, hindi na yung galit. Kung may dumating, gagamitin natin. Kung walang dumating, we do it. Feeling mo, ang daling makarecover ng mga tao o natulungan sila kasi ang dami-daming pera at saka ang dami-daming donation. But when we were there, hindi ganun talaga ang nakita ko at hindi ganun ang nangyari. But, but that's beside the point, Kasi what really struck me is that despite of all this, wala akong naramdamang sa mga tao eh. Wala akong naramdamang, of course, may may mga siguro hinanakit, tampo. Pero kaya ang mga tao walang choice. Okay, wala silang choice kundi sabi nga nila kung walang tutulong sa amin. Sabi nga doon sa isang interview ng mga ko doon sa nung nag-research pa kami. Kung walang tutulong sa amin, kailangan tulungan namin ang sarili namin. Kasi hindi kami pwedeng dumitpende sa gobyerno, hindi kami pwedeng dumitpende at maghantay na lang ng tulong.
Director Mendoza's first-hand experience in the evacuation camps gives one a clear view of what is happening despite the billions of pesos in local and foreign aid available.
Well, ang hirap na kasi parang hindi mo ma-equate yung nasaan yung mga tulong, nasaan yung mga naririnig. Kung nandito ka sa Maynila, parang ma-imagine mo because of this huge support and parang donation coming from different parts of the world.
And this is what he had to say.
It can be faster, it can be better if we have the political will. Unfortunately, we don't have that. Okay, we all want to help. Everybody wants to help, but we don't have the commitment to do it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the problem. Iba kasi yung tumutulong ka na 10%, iba yung tumutulong kang 150%. Mm-hmm. I think that makes a lot of difference. So I think that's the problem.